I couldn't believe it. I was in the stand an hour and a half of my 10-day hunt, and it was over. And I just shot my biggest deer of my life with my bow.
Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast, powered by Advanced Takedown Tree Stands, episode number 207. Brian Hardy, face paint, swamp sweat, and Florida deer hunting. Please support our sponsors as they make this show possible. Today's show is sponsored by Advanced Takedown Tree Stands, Covert Scouting Cameras, the Horny Buck Seed Company, the Euro Hanger, and Morse's Sporting Goods. Big Buck Registry is a virtual museum of hunting stories. We preserve a piece of Americana by interviewing and recording hunters about their hunts and experiences from across the country. And who knows, maybe we'll learn a thing or two along the way that'll help us take our hunt to the next level.
Hey, this is Adam Hayes from Team 200 and themoonguide.com, and you're about to push play on one of my favorite podcasts, Big Buck Registry.
Hey guys, this is Fred Bird with the National Wild Turkey Federation and the NWTF Strut Zone All Access podcast, and I am on my favorite deer hunting podcast, the Big Buck Registry.
Jiminy Christmas, this is Roger Ragland, and you're listening to the Big Buck Registry Deer Hunting Podcast.
Welcome, fellow predators, to the Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We have another exciting episode lined up for you this week. If you are a first-time listener to the show, I want to say thank you for tuning in. I don't know how you're listening, but I wanted to let you know that this show is found in multiple locations. Just because you found us however you found us, there may be a better place to listen to us based off of the devices that you use. I want to run down the list so you can find us in other spots. In particular, you can find us on iTunes. If you are an iTunes user and you haven't left us a review yet, please do so. Whether you like the show or don't like the show, either way, we'd like to get some feedback. Subscribe to the show on iTunes. That helps us out. Helps us out in rankings and lets us know if you're listening. Lets us know if you're out there. If you're not an iTunes user, you can find us on TuneIn Radio. You can find us on iHeartRadio. You can find us on Stitcher. We're also on Blueberry and Libsyn. And if all else fails, you can also find us on YouTube. So you can get every single show we've ever done on YouTube. Yes, it's a video, but with all of our great audio content. Also, if you are a longtime listener, I want to say thank you for tuning in and being a loyal supporter. If you like this podcast, I'm going to post a link where you can go and nominate this show for the Podcast People's Choice Award. And that's going to be available at bigbuckregistry.com/podcast awards. It looks like you do have to fill out your name and provide an email address, which to me is annoying. But at least if you care enough, if you like the show enough, please nominate the show for the Podcast of the Year People's Choice Award. That would be most appreciated. If you ever participated in our safety harness program, all of the harnesses that we have been spoken for, so we need some more. So if you have bought a tree stand or are buying a tree stand, keep us in mind. Keep those harnesses that come with those tree stands if you're not going to use them. There are many people out there that need them. We're running an exchange program here. Basically, if you have some to donate, you send them to us, and then we send them out to the people that request them. And all you have to do to participate, either to send them in or to receive one, if you need them, is send an email to jay@bigbuckregistry.com or dusty@bigbuckregistry.com, and we'll let you know if we have a supply of them. Currently, as I had mentioned, we do not have a supply. So if you have some to donate, or if you're about to buy some tree stands, keep us in mind, or if you have some already, and you're not going to use that harness, send it in here, and we'll get it out to the people in need. This week's guest is Brian Hardy. If you ever wanted to test a new kind of face paint that doesn't crack under pressure, meaning it doesn't run or disappear when faced with a severe perspiration situation, where would you go to test it? For Brian Hardy, Florida was the ideal testing ground because first, it's the perfect environment for sweat, but more importantly, he lives there. During a scorching Midwest hunt, Brian became fed up with traditional petroleum-based, hard-to-clean-up face paint, so he set out to create a healthy, easy cleanup, no-run solution to these face paint problems. And living in Florida, he conducted test trials right in his own backyard. Now, after years of trial and error, you will soon see hardy face paint in some of the largest outdoor sporting goods shops on the planet. While we had Brian's attention, we decided to go grill Brian on how to hunt deer in Florida. We had no idea that you could have a rain out in deer hunting, but at least now, if you tried to hunt the Florida washouts, thanks to Brian, your face paint won't run anymore. So we're looking forward to the interview with Brian in just a second. Before we get there, let's turn to Jim Keller with the Deer News.
The Deer News this week is sponsored by the Euro Hanger. You don't have to spend big bucks to hang your big buck. Get yourself a Euro Hanger. Facebook.com/Eurohanger, EUROHANGER.
For the Big Buck Registry, this is Jim Keller with the Deer News. Our first story this week, Scentlock Technologies purchases Robinson Outdoor. This story was originally featured on the deeranddeerhunting.com website and was written by Alan Clemens. Scentlock Technologies, the leading manufacturer of premium scent-controlling products, is pleased and excited to announce its acquisition of Robinson Outdoor Products. The transaction, finalized on July 6, includes all assets of Robinson Outdoors, including the Scent Blocker, Scent Shield, Tree Spider, and Whitewater Outdoors products and brands, as well as all patents and intellectual properties. While certain technologies may cross over between brands, Scentlock is clear that it plans to invest in the Scent Blocker and other Robinson brands and products separate from the Scentlock name and product lines. It is expected that all operations will be consolidated into the Scentlock offices and distribution centers located in Muskegon, Michigan. Ray Petering ousted at Ohio Division of Wildlife. This story was originally featured on the Blade BCSN.TV website and was written by Matt Markey. On Wednesday morning, Ray Petering was out of his job as chief of the Ohio Wildlife Division. Terminated was the word the more than 30-year veteran of the division used to describe his abrupt exit, while Ohio Department of Natural Resources Director James Zeringer characterized the change in a letter to the ODNR office as Petering returning to retirement. Petering, who was named chief at Wildlife in November 2015, had been at philosophical odds with ODNR wildlife leadership about a number of issues, including the direction and funding of the Wildlife Division. He had retired as acting assistant chief in 2011, then brought his extensive experience to the post when he came out of retirement to lead the Wildlife Division. At the time he was appointed, Chief Zeringer called Petering the ideal candidate for this job. On Wednesday, a spokesman for the ODNR offered this perspective from Zeringer. I want to recognize the commitment of former Chief Ray Petering as an effective wildlife conservationist and thank him for his efforts. Petering's sudden departure follows the recent resignation of Mike Budzik, who had been the primary advisor to Governor John Kasich on matters involving the ODNR. Budzik, a former chief of Division of Wildlife, laid out a scathing rebuke of ODNR leadership in his lengthy resignation letter. In his letter to the ODNR staff revealing Petering's departure, Zeringer announced Mike Miller would be the new chief of the Division of Wildlife. Miller, who had been serving as chief of the ODNR Division of Watercraft since 2014 and also was the ODNR's boating law administrator, has almost 2 decades of experience as a wildlife officer. Miller, who has been with the ODNR for more than 28 years, has been honored as the Shikar Safari Award for Wildlife Officer of the Year, Ohio State Grange Police Officer of the Year, Turn in a Poacher Officer of the Year, and Ohio Bowhunter Officer of the Year. Outdoor Channel star from Louisiana sentenced for poaching in Wyoming. This story was originally featured on the LouisianaSportsman.com website. The host of Wild Game Nation on the Outdoor Channel was sentenced last month in connection with an elk poaching incident on his Wyoming ranch last October. According to OutdoorHub.com, Billy Busbus Jr. was sentenced to 1.5 years of unsupervised probation and was ordered to pay $23,000 in fines and restitution and will lose his hunting and fishing privileges in 45 states, including Louisiana, until 2019 for allowing an antlerless elk to go to waste and for hunting without a proper license. Media reports indicate the incident occurred when Busbus, who was filming a hunt for his show, accidentally shot a calf elk while attempting to harvest a large bull. Busbus of Alla, Louisiana, apparently ordered his ranch manager to drag the calf into an irrigation ditch in an attempt to conceal it, according to the Kemmerer Gazette. Busbus, who was appointed to the Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries Commission in 1998 and served as chairman in 2004, was also cited in 2016 in Wyoming for false oath of purchasing a resident general elk license as a non-resident and for purchasing more than the authorized number of deer licenses. 4 great tips to protect your summer seedlings. This story was originally featured on the deeranddeerhunting.com website and was written by Austin Delano. Planting seedlings and raising them to become a tree can be a rewarding experience. Seasoned tree planters will tell you getting them through the heat and drought of their first summer is the biggest obstacle. The following are some tips for first summer success. Protection. First and foremost, put tree protectors or tree tubes around each and every seedling on planting day. They accelerate the growth and protect your plants from deer and other plant-destroying animals. Don't plant a tree without them. Weed control. Aggressive weeds, including grasses, will rob your seedlings of necessary moisture and nutrients. You can provide mechanical control with a hoe, or weed eater, or chemical control with a contact herbicide such as glyphosate. No matter your choice, keep at least a 3-foot radius weed-free around your prize plants during the growing season. Supplement. Like humans, plants need a quality food source to stay healthy and reach their full potential. Proper fertilization encourages a strong root system that is much more capable of utilizing available soil moisture than a stressed-out, underfed root system. Consider using manure-based organic or low-salt chemical fertilizers instead of traditional chemical fertilizers. Follow the instructions on the bag, and yes, it's okay to fertilize a tree its first year. Flowering and mass-producing trees are an integral part of quality habitat, but getting them established can be a daunting task for the beginning grower. Follow the prior steps to success will save you a ton of heartache and make you look like an old pro. For more habitat tips, visit www.gamekeeperclub.com. That concludes this week's edition of the Big Buck Registry Deer News. For links to the stories featured this week, please check our show notes at www.bigbuckregistry.com. If you have any ideas for future topics or have any questions about any of these topics, please email me at jim@bigbuckregistry.com. For the Big Buck Registry, this is Jim Keller with the Deer News.
Thank you to Jim Keller with the Deer News. And without further ado, here is Brian Hardy. Brian Hardy, welcome to the Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast. How are you, my friend?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Psyched to have you, man. You're down in Florida.
Yes, I am. Born and raised. Haven't left.
What's going on in Florida these days?
It's hot. Mosquitoes are state bird, and there's plenty of them.
Growing up, I always wondered why my friends would go to Florida in the summertime. It just didn't make any sense to me. They'd leave New Hampshire and head down there, and I'm like, it's plenty warm enough in New Hampshire. Why do you need to go to Florida where it's hotter?
Right.
I would go in the springtime.
You're a lot smarter than most men. It is very, very hot down here in the summertime.
I always thought that was the case, but I was never going to inspect it for myself. Just
right.
So you actually grew up in Florida?
Well, I can tell you 35 years ago, it definitely wasn't as busy. I'm from a small town here in Jupiter, Florida, near West Palm Beach. And now, from what I was told the other day, it's one of the fastest growing small towns in the nation.
Really?
It's just absolutely blowing up. Its population, I mean, they can't really build much more, but what a great town to live in, be from. And we have crystal clear water if you're a fisherman in the summertime. So that's what a lot of people come down here to do, is go offshore fishing. We got some great fishing and the beaches. So there's a lot of things to do down here, that's for sure.
Is the draw the beachfront? Is that, and the fishing, is that the kind of the call?
Yeah, and we have a lot going on for us. We have the Keys to the south of us. Just where I'm located, we have Lake Okeechobee to the west of us, an hour away, which has some of the best bass fishing you can do.
Right.
Also, just to the south of us, only about 15 minutes, the peacock bass have actually worked their way a little north to where people can come down here and catch peacock bass.
Oh, wow.
Which most places you can't do. So, I mean, for an outdoorsman, it's a pretty good state. But as far as deer hunting, you're not going to shoot the large deer like they do out in Kansas and out in the Midwest. But you can have, if you put your time in and hunt these cypress swamps, you can kill a nice Florida buck.
Okay. All right. I definitely want to get into your techniques and strategies in just a bit about how to go about that. We've never really explored Florida hunting, but it's come up before. We have certainly had pictures of bucks sent into the page that are from Florida, and some of them are pretty good looking bucks. I mean, they always seem to be healthy, but some of them are unusually large, not something that you would expect to come out of Florida typically. As the northern deer, and especially the Midwest deer, are big racked and big bodied. You don't expect that out of Florida. You expect smaller bodies, smaller racks, but some of these racks are pretty impressive.
Yeah, and typically they are a little bit smaller. I think the Florida Registry has to hit the 120-inch mark.
Right.
But I mean, for Florida, that's a giant deer.
Right.
So, and with all the QDM that's going on, the deer are starting to get bigger, these management areas, because believe it or not, state of Florida, you're allowed 1 buck a day. So they're really cracking down on that and putting point restrictions to where it's got to at least have 3 points on one side. So you're starting to see some bigger deer. Even where I grew up, never saw a deer ever where I grew up, out in the woods in Jupiter Farms. And now I work for the fire department. Just yesterday, I saw a beautiful 8-point standing on the other side of this flag pond, which you just never saw, even 10 years ago.
Right. So something good is happening in Florida relative to the deer population. So it's a buck a day, huh?
That's what it is. I don't know if they changed that for the private land, but it's crazy.
Does that mean that there's just that many deer? The population is so overloaded that it's
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. It's nothing. I started hunting out in the Midwest probably 8 years ago, and they're loaded. They have the numbers where here you're lucky to see a couple deer spit. So I don't know why it's been like that for a long time. So
okay,
it's going to change, I'm sure, because most of the private lands are all being bought up.
I'll have to put a asterisk on that then. I'll have to pin that and come back to that topic at some future show. I need to investigate why that's the case. Very interesting. So growing up in Florida, obviously you were exposed to hunting of some sort. Did you have any influences growing up? Were there any people in your life that taught you how to hunt or showed you the ways of the woods or the swamps in this case, I guess?
Yeah, I would say my dad. He hunted a lot when he was a kid and then kind of got away from it. And then some of my friends were hunting, and my dad got me back into it, or got me actually into it. And from then on, I was just hooked. I was always in outdoors, always fishing, always never inside. So got introduced to hog hunting. We have plenty of hogs down here.
Yeah.
Then gator season, we have plenty of alligators, and we have Osceola turkey, which you can't shoot anywhere else in the nation.
Right.
So, I mean, it draws a lot of people. And when I was younger, I didn't really realize that, how fortunate I was. But now, the duck hunting I got hooked into duck hunting. That's probably my favorite. And we have some of the best duck hunting. Most people don't believe it, but it can get unbelievable here. And we're the last ones by the time they migrate all the way south. You think they would know what a decoy looks like by now, or a duck call, and they do. Right. But still, it's a lot of fun.
They're just not that smart.
It can be hit or miss, that's for sure.
Right. I think they learn like any creature to be aware of what harm is and what is not.
Absolutely.
It's a on-off switch. It's not like they're trying to sit there and think about what exactly is going on. It's just fight or flight is or is not.
Exactly.
Very interesting. So can you describe the terrain that you're typically in and hunting? I mean, we think of Florida, we think of swampland.
Right. Yeah,
and swamps are different there than other parts of the country, I think. And maybe I'm wrong.
I would say we're probably similar to some of like Louisiana, southern Louisiana, and we have a lot of cypress head down here, South Florida, and a lot of swamp. Duck hunting, most people get around on airboats, and hog hunting, stuff like that, it's swamp buggies, because we're in our rainy season just starting now, and we were in a drought for weeks, and now all of a sudden we've had a couple of weeks of rain. Everything that was completely dry, the cypress heads are already 6 feet deep, so it floods really quick. And where you thought was a good spot where you put up your stand that was dry, now you're going to have to take a boat to. So you really have to pay attention to the water level.
So that's interesting. So is deer hunting like a boating activity in some scenarios?
Some people do take canoes in. We have we have a lot of ponds, lakes, rivers that come through. So people do a lot of hunting to try to get away from the crowds. Okay. And so it just depends on where you're at, basically.
Is the deer hunting better the deeper you get into the swamps?
Usually, just like anywhere else. If you backpack in or you hike in and you're away from the weekend warriors that you only have so much time to hunt. So if you put your time in, you hike a couple miles in, you're going to see more. You're going to have probably a better chance than most.
Okay. So, and that's kind of the philosophy, I think. I mean, it's all based off pressure in a lot of ways, and swamps historically, biologically, are places of escape for any deer to get away from predators and hunters.
Right.
So the deeper you go, the bigger deer you'll find, generally speaking.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
yeah, absolutely.
That theory holds true in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And our population is just getting more and more. So,
yeah.
I mean, the first person that goes on their first hunt, if it's a successful hunt, they're hooked. So sometimes the new person you take, you might not want to put them on such a great hunt, their first hunt, because you spoil them,
right?
Especially down here. So,
right.
But it's a lot of fun to take new people, and it just seems like anytime you think you found a spot that's just you and a couple of friends know about it, the next year you go there, 20, 30 other people know about it. So it's always nonstop scouting.
Okay. On a side note, do you remember the first firearm or weapon that you ever fired?
I do. I got on my, I believe it was my 15th birthday, I got a Remington 870 pump, and I shot that pump for probably 5 years, and I wish it had a counter on it, how many shells I went through that gun. Because once I got good with it, that was my baby.
Right. That's a great gun. Just a standard classic.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Very nice. What does hunting mean to you these days? What's your philosophy? Does it have some core meaning in your soul?
It's basically my passion. I mean, if it wasn't for the regulations and everything that's going on today and that's been going on the last 30 years, probably there would be no hunters because everything would be shot out and just wouldn't have places to go because everything's getting bought up and getting privatized. So hunting to me is my way of just getting away from reality, having a good time, sharing time with friends, family, and I honestly don't know what else I would do if there wasn't. I'd probably be fishing, but hunting to me, I just love the challenge. I love the sport, and I pretty much got away from rifle hunting. All I do is bow hunt now. So challenge to me is just, I love the challenge.
Gotcha. Is that a phone ringing?
Oh, yeah. We have a camo face paint company. So we're now deeper in the business called Hardy Face Paint.
I was going to ask
and
you
we
about
just
that.
announced, we just announced today that we are going to be in 2,188 Walmarts across the nation. So my phone is blowing up. People telling me congratulations.
That's a big deal, man. I mean, as a retailer, that's a big move.
It's a very big move. It's the third season and third year with the Camo Face Paint Company that we started, and it's just growing at such a rate. It's so awesome. I mean, very blessed on how it's worked out. Right place, right time. My wife runs the company, so it's basically her company, and she is just, I'm a lucky man. I married a smart girl. That's all I can say. So it's been well.
So so this is a development of face paint. I mean, you see face paint around, and certainly, my son loves eye black for youth baseball. And
yeah, but we also carry that as well.
Okay, all right. So this is interesting. So it's essentially makeup, right? At its core,
you can't get around it. It's 100%. I believe if you put it on your face, what else can you call it? You can call it face paint, you can call it war paint, you can call it makeup.
Right.
It's all the same stuff.
All the same stuff, just branded differently for different applications.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we kind of changed the game on it. We took a product that's out there. Most of them are petroleum based. I'm a firefighter down here in South Florida, so the cancer studies we're doing are just incredible. And why firefighters lose approximately 10 years off their life, why so many percentage get diagnosed with cancer at an early age. And it's because of absorption rate. A lot of people don't realize people are still using burning corks and putting that on their face. That is a big no-no. They're using these face paints that are petroleum based. It's coming from oil.
Right.
So my wife is very organic lifestyle, and I came back from Kansas one day and told her, I said, there's no face paint out there. It just, you sweat, it runs down your face, you touch your face, gets all over your hands. I had it all over my rental car. It just makes an absolute mess.
Right.
And she said, well, let's try to come up with something. And before you know it, we worked on it, and we developed a face paint that is water-based. There's no grease in it. It's water and sweat resistant. Smudge-proof. Once it goes on, it stays where you put it. We actually have an applicator attached to the cap, so you can brush it on your face if you don't want to get it on your hands. It's non-toxic,
carcinogenic.
How about yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Tongue twister for me.
Yeah.
And when you want it off, it's basically a little bit of water. You don't have to scrub hard, and it's the easiest face paint to come off on the market. People are just absolutely amazed by it. It's one of those things, once you try it, you're never going to use anything else. And because of that, our third season, I mean, it's just, we went to the ATA for the first year. People were coming up to me that I've watched on TV my whole life, and they're calling me by my first name. I'm like, how do you know me? Hardy Face Paint, and
Right.
It's such a cool experience.
It's a tremendous American story. I mean, it's one of those entrepreneur success stories that you like to hear, and unfortunately for every one, there are probably 1,000 failures.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I think, but to hear that somebody has actually done something and progressed to that level where you're getting into a national market with just a concept because you identified a problem in the market is fascinating.
Absolutely. And it's just, my hat's off to my wife, because she's just been, you couldn't stop her. She's been the motivator. She's been pushing. And she told me at one point, she's like, we have to do this. I mean, it's going to cost money. The only way to make it is take risks. I'm willing to take it if you're willing to take it. And we sat down, we crunched some numbers, and we both decided, let's go for it. And it's just been tremendous.
Wow.
The support we're getting from the hunting community, from our family, friends, it's just been, everybody has just been the motivator to keep pushing us to go forward.
Wow.
And our very first show was the World Deer Expo in Birmingham.
Yep.
And that was 2 years ago. And we just went with a basic black squeeze tube. We didn't have any other colors. And 3-day show we sold, I don't even remember the number. It was over $2,000 in face paint. My wife and I looked at each other and were like, this is going to work. And people were just, from then on, we started social media, and it's just been nonstop go. We run our own social media. So if you have any questions, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, the new YouDo app, and it's ask us anything you want. We're always on it. We're always willing to answer. If you have any problems with the tube at all, just contact me. I'll send you another one if it's a defect or anything you need. I mean, it's been basically the support we're getting. You can only support the hunters that are supporting you. I mean, it's just been an awesome experience, and I wouldn't change anything about it.
That's very cool. I like the story. So how many applications have you had to put on your face for trial and error over the last 2 years?
That's a good. I would say we probably did, just to get the black correct, if I had to guess, probably between 30 and 40.
Wow. And
that would be out here in the summertime, push mowing my yard with it on, sweating, standing out. My wife making me stand out in the rain instead of just jumping in the shower. You have to do the real thing.
I hope you have video of this experimentation.
Jumping in pools, and coming out with it not smearing, not coming off, staying right where you put it.
Right.
I mean, she's definitely put me through the ringer with it. That's for sure. And it's been a lot of fun as well.
That's excellent. I like your wife already. That's great. So the trial and error is, I mean, I got to go back to like just eye black in general. Play a lot of baseball, or at least we have this year. So we've gone through a lot of eye black. It's not easy to get off. I mean, the way we get it off, if we get some coconut oil and then that kind of cleans it, and then you can go through the shower after that. But that stuff is tough to get off.
Yeah. And we've heard it all.
Formula. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Ours, I'll definitely send you some. And I mean, we guarantee if you don't like our product, send it back.
Okay.
There's nothing like it. And we've had our first show, we sold to NFL players, to Major League Baseball players. We didn't even know who they were. And they're like, I'm going to wear this in my baseball game next week in Atlanta. And I'm like, who was that guy? And everybody's like, you don't know who that was? And I mean, it's been unbelievable. The reviews. I mean, people just nonstop sending us reviews. Hey, thank you for such a great product. And the only thing we do have in our product, which we warn everybody, is we have such a small percentage of latex in it. If you are allergic to latex, test it on the inside of your arm. It's the most sensitive spot.
Gotcha.
That if you're going to have a reaction to it, that's where you'll happen. We don't recommend just throwing any face paint on your face if you don't look at the ingredients. So that's the only thing, but that's one of our ingredients that we cannot take out.
Gotcha.
That's what makes our face paint. And we warn everybody, but we've had very, very minimal. We've had people saying their kids are so allergic to everything that, they can't put anything on their face.
Okay.
So please try on your arm. And then they call us back or email us, man, this is great. They're having so much fun that they had no reactions with your face paint. And that's because my wife has sat down and gone through and done her research on every single ingredient to make sure that it's non-irritating. It's the best of the best.
Right.
And it doesn't clog your pores. It doesn't make your face break out. So people are just going nuts over it.
Very, very cool. So you're a face paint guy. Do you have, how many different colors are available, and how do you use the stuff? I mean, I just assume that you just throw it on your face, but you must have some different strategies or techniques, even when it comes to face paint, about how to design the proper pattern to break up your face.
I don't think there's really a necessary pattern.
Okay.
As long as you can break up the outline, that's your number one goal. And with our wand applicator in it, now, because you can do such detailed designs with it, people are having a lot of fun with it. If you go on our social media pages, like Instagram, for example, you will see thousands of pictures people have sent us or tagged us in where they're just having fun.
Gotcha.
Everybody has their own unique design, and it just gets you away from the face mask.
Right.
And that's how I came up with the idea. I was bow hunting in Kansas. My buddies were wearing face paint. I was not. And they said, I was new to bow hunting. They said, there's so much that can go wrong bow hunting. A face mask is eventually going to block your shot or mess you up. Why have one more thing you have to worry about when you draw back your bow? And didn't listen to them. Probably should have. And thank God it was just a doe. I was trying to fill my tag with a doe. I drew back. Face mask got right in the way of my peep sight. I couldn't move it. She saw me. She blew. She ran. So I'm 100% honest. I come back, tell the guys what happened. They all laugh. They handed me their face paint. And after wearing their face paint, I was like, there's got to be a better way. I'm going to the restaurant with my face blood red because I've been trying to scrub it off for the last 30 minutes on the way there.
Right.
Or finally just give up and show up at the restaurant with face paint on.
Right.
So, and that's where it started.
That's, I can see how you kind of said that there's a problem here and I need to fix it.
Right.
You're not the first person to say that they don't like face masks. I have a friend, Bob, down in North Carolina who doesn't like face masks either, so he's constantly doing the face paint, but it sticks. Mm-hmm. It stays on. Mm-hmm. How many different colors are available?
Right now we have the 3-pack, which is a green, a brown, and a black, and we're working on possibly 3 new colors before hunting season really gets going. Is our goal to kind of launch it. You'll be the first to hear. We're going to be coming out with a white. We have a bunch of snow goose hunters that have been asking for a white, and because they're dressed all in white, and same thing, they don't want to wear face masks anymore. And then we've had enough people wanting a gray, so we're going to come out with a gray. And then also for breast cancer awareness in the women, we're going to be launching a pink for October for breast cancer awareness month.
All right, very good.
So, and then we'll be donating some of the proceeds. We have a couple different breast cancer big programs down here in South Florida, so we'll be donating some of that to them. And just kind of, we wouldn't be here without the help from others. So to give back is a huge part of our business. And so we give back to Ducks Unlimited, one of our local United Waterfowlers, and then now we can do a little bit more.
Nice. That's very cool. It's nice to have a outreach to give back as well.
And I think a lot of people there are plenty of companies that do that, but then I think a lot of people get lost in it. And there's always, I feel like, in my own opinion, if you can help others, why wouldn't you?
Right.
That's why I became a fireman. That's why a lot of people do what they do for jobs every day. Just the satisfaction of you knowing you helped somebody else out is amazing.
Right. Very nice. Very cool. Well, I'm very curious to see how these colors progress. And pink, of course, as we've learned talking to many a doctorate of the whitetail, pink is not an alarming color to a whitetail deer by any means. Blue.
That is correct.
Blue, on the other hand, may be a color you want to stay away from.
Right. And we're now getting very good relationships with some of these big companies, and without leaking out anything, or one particular camo company, they've looked into pink to where now there's some states, I believe, instead of wearing blaze orange, you can wear blaze pink.
Very cool.
So you're going to start seeing the transition. The women in the outdoors is on a rise. You're not stopping them. It's all you can do is embrace it, and it's unbelievable to watch. My number one, I guess, satisfaction is taking a kid hunting.
Right.
But now to teach a woman or young lady, even an older lady that just wants to learn, it's awesome. Now it's for everybody. It's not just a male dominant sport. You're seeing everybody now. Families, full families, everybody's hunting. And to me, that's what it's all about.
Right.
So it's super cool to see.
I taking a kid hunting is obviously, a fantastic experience, because you get to see their eyes light up, and it's a brand new, fresh experience that they're not even aware of. They're just learning. But I also see this, and I've seen a larger group of adult people coming through who always wanted to try it, never did as a kid, and they're just as excited as the kids. It's a
absolutely
fascinating experience, and I've mentored a couple people along the way over the last few years through our mentorship program, and now they have gone all in, and they truly enjoy the experience of being a hunter where they weren't hunters before, and these are 40-somethings.
Right.
Fascinating experience. All right, let's talk a little bit more about hunting in Florida.
Okay.
You've hunted other states. How is Florida deer hunting different than hunting other states?
Well, I would say, as much of a crazy person I am with scent control, when you're hunting down here, there's no stopping you from sweating.
Right.
It's, our archery season is coming up in a couple weeks, and it is mid-90s. You're walking miles. A lot of it's, the management areas, you're walking only, no four-wheelers, and you can't drive in. So you have to be a dedicated hunter to hunt South Florida. Everything's flat. There's no hills. There's even most places below sea level, because it's just all cypress swamps. And scent control, I basically wear a full bug tamer, as many thermocells that are working at the time.
Right.
And, I put in a lot of time. You have to, these management areas change so much, because they do a lot of controlled burning down here, because the trees, the weeds, it just grows so fast. And what might be a good spot one year is completely different the next year. And that includes the water level. So it always happens for archery season. I'll go put my stand. We'll get a tropical storm or a hurricane. We get 10 inches of rain, and you're not getting to your stand. So you have to change. You have to have a plan A, B, C, D, go all the way through the alphabet, basically. So it's
right, because of flooding.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a different scenario than the rest of the country, for sure.
Right.
Right. What? How do you scout? How do you decide where to hunt?
Well, with technology now, it makes it obviously a lot easier. Google Earth is one of my go-tos. I try to see where cypress heads kind of funnel in together, where if you basically in Florida, you're looking for pine trees. Pine trees mean high ground.
Okay.
If you can find a row of pines that are coming through a cypress head, chances are it's going to be a travel corridor. The deer, they have no choice but to walk through water. But if they can walk through ankle-deep water opposed to neck-deep water, obviously they're going to go through the ankle-deep water.
Right.
So that's basically how I get a head start on things, and then talk to your friends who have been previous experiences, where they've been, and you kind of just, like anywhere else, you work out a game plan, and then you have to go walk it. There's no just throwing a stand up and hoping you kill something or hoping you see something, because chances are you're not going to. And the further you go, the better off you are, obviously, because, the older gentlemen, the elderly guys, they can't walk, or they don't want to walk as far. So it pays to be a little young and stay in shape, but the hours on your feet are where it's at.
Okay. Tree stands, is that your preferred method?
Yep, mostly climbers.
Okay.
We have straight pine trees, whereas the Midwest, you're not getting in a climber. Everything has a turn in it.
Right.
So, but throw a climber and go. Sometimes while you're scouting, stash a climber somewhere in the woods in an area where do you have option B, or if you have maybe a lock on, put it somewhere. Kind of, unfortunately, just like everywhere, you have to put a lock on things now, where before you never had a problem. Nobody messed with your stand. But now, today's world, I don't know why it's changed so much, but if you don't lock your stuff up, it's your own fault, basically, because you're going to go there in the morning and it might not be there. It might be someone else's spot, and they just took it down and hid it from you.
Right.
It's a shame, but same thing with trail cameras. When I'm hunting public lands, I'll climb up in a tree and angle it down. Most people aren't looking up when they're walking. So you kind of have to, when you get pictures of your deer and stuff, you're not getting the head-on shot. You're getting the above the aerial look at them, which it's really benefited. I haven't had to worry about my trail cameras being stolen or coming up missing. So just different little tips when you're hunting public land that can help a lot of people and reduce some of the aggravation.
Right. Very interesting. So your scent control, especially early season, kind of got to just throw that out the window.
You hunt the wind. That's the only way you can do it, and you can't plan for everything. I mean, Mother Nature, if it says it's a west wind all day, and you get in that stand and it's an east wind, just like out in the Midwest, you're not going to fool a deer's nose. You better move. There's no sense in sitting somewhere where the wind's blowing where you think the deer are going to be coming from.
Okay.
Because you're just wasting your time. Okay. And down here for the public land hunt, most hunts are only a 3-day hunt. So you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It rains a lot.
Right.
So of one of those days, 2 of those days might be a complete washout. So you want to take full advantage of that one good day of hunting. So just have to definitely watch the weather, pay attention, use your powders, whatever you do for your wind. And if you don't, you're going to be disappointed.
Gotcha. Okay. Very interesting. Your seasons, what are the seasons like for deer hunting itself? Sounds like it starts early, and how long does it go?
I believe it goes all the way through into December, but don't quote me on that. But the crazy part about it is your temperature change doesn't really change much. So there's no rhyme or reason really why the rut would kick off here one day opposed to the other. Whereas out in the Midwest, you get a 30-degree temperature change, and the first cold front of the year, it sparks them up a little bit. Right. Here, it might get down to the 80s, and you're thinking, oh, it dropped 10 degrees, but nothing happened. So that part of it, I haven't really figured out as much. They just changed the dates last year, and I didn't hunt Florida last year. We were so busy with the business. So I want to say it starts the end of August, beginning of September, right around there.
Okay.
So that would be bow season, and we have 3 different zones. So South Florida starts first, then Central Florida, then Northern Florida.
Okay. Lots of hunting to do, and sounds like it's a long season.
It is very long.
Very interesting.
Which is good.
Yep. Any other challenges that you can think of that's different in Florida compared to the rest of the world?
Sounds
like the mosquitoes are pretty rugged.
Mosquitoes are really bad, and hydrate. You have to hydrate.
Okay.
I haven't been out on a antelope hunt where you see it's 100 degrees, but I think it would be about the same.
Okay.
You're walking a lot, you're sweating a lot. Better bring your water, better bring some way to hydrate. It's very important, and you see a lot of people get in trouble. So that's probably one big thing here in Florida. And mosquitoes, I know a lot of guys that just give up and they put bug repellent on and strictly hunt the wind.
Okay.
I refuse to do that.
Right.
But they still are somewhat successful, and even bow hunting, they're still successful. So they're proving me wrong, but I can't do that.
Gotcha. All right. It sounds like a completely different world, and obviously you have a lot of species that you can hunt beyond deer, and obviously the fishing in Florida is quite tropical and a huge variety of fishing, both inland and offshore.
Absolutely, and we're only 60 miles from the Bahamas, so that's a big. I mean, it only takes an hour and a half by boat, and you're in the Bahamas.
Right.
So a lot of things to do.
Yep. The outdoorsman's paradise in a lot of ways, except for maybe the temperatures. That might be the only the biggest challenge is dealing with
that.
those.
Absolutely. But being from here, you get used to it, and most of the guys that are very successful aren't coming from other states to hunt here. You know what I mean? They get to see their seasons change and the leaves change where we don't. And they're mainly, the out-of-staters are coming strictly for either a gator hunt, a hog hunt, or the Osceola to finish out their Grand Slam.
Right. Gotcha. Quite a state as far as the outdoorsman aspects of life are concerned. Very cool. All right. So, Brian, I asked you to think of a memorable deer hunt that we want you to take us on. And it's obviously an event that's already occurred, but where are we going to go on your hunt? My guess is maybe not Florida.
No, I'm going to have to go with last year.
Okay.
One of my best friends I've been hunting with for quite a while now. We found a small chunk of property in Kansas that we leased, and it's just him and I bow hunting. So we went out in the summer, checked it out, set up some stands. We were able to get 11 stands up, 11 lock-on, and trimmed all the shooting lanes, hoped for the best, and the stage was set for November. We flew out there. I landed at noon, and it's about an hour and a half drive to the property, and we rented a house about 20 minutes away from the property. So I told him, I knew he wasn't flying in until about 3 in the afternoon. So I told him I would do all the shopping. We always stay for approximately 10 days to hit that rut, to try to at least hit the rut, see some of it. And I got out there. It was actually warmer in southeast Kansas last year than when I left Florida. I landed, it was 78 degrees, and went and did all our shopping, just kind of took my time and got to the house and realized, man, I still have 2 hours before dark. So very quickly, took a shower, jumped in the truck, drove out. Well, they didn't have my truck, of course, at the airport. They said they were completely out of trucks. They could upgrade me to an Expedition, fully loaded. So the first purchase at Walmart was a tarp, and drive out there, went to the closest stands that I didn't have to hike to because I knew deer were already on their feet. Snuck in the stand. About an hour later, some does start walking out into this cut bean field, and right after they all stepped out, I heard behind me a buck rubbing a tree. I could see the treetop shaking, and all of a sudden, all the does in the field blow and clear the whole field and run.
Really?
And I'm going, man, it was dead quiet, and I'm sweating. It's just super hot. I brought all my Florida hunting clothes, and I look over before I could even try to see what that buck was. Here he comes to investigate, and he was a giant. I saw him for a split second coming through some cedars. I grabbed my bow, ready for a shot. He came, I'm guessing it was 13 to 15 yards, right around there. When I saw him, I had just one little window, one opportunity. He stopped perfectly. I released the arrow. Once I saw his little kick out, I knew it was a great shot. And there's just so much going on through your head. I've never seen a deer this big on hoof before. And he ran out in this field, turned around, and I could not get another shot on him, and he fell over at 43 yards. When I got down, I couldn't believe it. I was in the stand an hour and a half of my 10-day hunt, and it was over. And I just shot my biggest deer of my life with my bow.
Wow. It
was incredible. I first called my wife, and she was super excited for me. Called my dad. He's like, you did what? You just got there. And I ended up calling one of the farmer's sons that I met during the summer. He said, hey, if you get blood on the ground, please don't track it. I'm training a dog. So I told him, I said, well, I just killed a giant. He's laying in the middle of the field if you still want to work your dog. And he's like, well, I'll bring the dog anyways. And he came over and saw the deer. He's been hunting the deer for 3 years. He was super excited for me. I mean, out there, everybody's so nice. He told me to come by his house. He had sheds of the deer. He gave me some sheds off the same deer. And we put a tape on him. He scored 165 and 3/8.
Wow.
So
that's a quarter. That's a beautiful deer.
My friend landed at 3:30. So by the time he got his bag and everything, he was on the road. I was already on the ground taking pictures with my deer, and he's texting me, what'd you see? And I just called him. He's like, what are you doing? Did you not go out? I just killed the biggest deer of my life. Yeah, right. I said, I'm sending you a picture now.
Right.
And he was like, he did. It was just, if it was that easy, everybody would do it. So it was pretty awesome. A hunt I'll never forget.
Right. That's awesome, man. What a great hunt. A little different than Florida, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So in Florida, if you see a couple deer sit, it's a good sit. In Kansas, if you see 30 deer sit, that's a good sit.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the draw. That's what's drawn a lot of hunters out from the Midwest. Is there's more things to watch than just squirrels barking at you, especially down here in Florida.
Very cool, man. That's a great hunt. Very, very nice. All right, now I have 10 rapid-fire questions for you, Brian.
All right.
I haven't prepped you for these, and it's just more or less a personality thing. So if you're ready, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
All right. What's your number one hunting tip of all time?
Hunting tip of all time is pay attention to your wind.
Excellent. And I can see that coming from Florida, but that applies everywhere. No question.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. And always has and always will.
Right.
We all have these things, and I think maybe I already know the answer to this for you in particular. We all have these things that we like to bring into the woods with us. Maybe it's a good luck charm, or maybe it's actually something effective, makes us better hunters. And it drives us insane if we leave it at home or in the truck. What's that one thing for you?
Well, my one thing now, because of my business, would be my hardy face paint.
That's what I figured you'd say.
But also on that, I always, and I think it's just superstitious, whatever, it works for me. I always cut cedar limbs, and I strap them to my backpack, and I take a cedar limb and I brush my whole self down. I brush everything down from top to bottom, my boots, and I just think mentally, whatever human sin I still have left on me, that cedar kind of masks it a little bit, especially out in the Midwest where you have cedar trees because it's such a strong smelling tree.
Yep.
And I've been known, I will not tell my buddy this, but I've been known to get out of the stand, cut a cedar real quick, and jump back in the stand, and just because I just forgot to do it. So it's just one of those things, once you get into a system, if you skip a step, it kind of messes you up, and you have to complete that step, or you just don't feel like it's going to happen, I guess.
Right. Okay. I can see that. I mean, cedar is obviously a good cover, and it's a very aromatic wood, so I can certainly see how that would be effective. And I love cedar. Cedar's great. If it's around you, obviously, it's a great cover.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Okay. What's your biggest pet peeve in life?
My biggest pet peeve in life, I would have to say the lack of respect.
Okay. That's a good one.
I just can't handle that. When somebody disrespects someone else, it irks me, whether it's just someone's opinion. I mean, it could be absolutely, that could apply to anything. Respect to me, it's just been ingrained in me since I was a child. You open the door for people. If you're on a bus or sitting somewhere and you see an elderly person, you offer them your seat. It's going away. And I wish there was a way that it could be somehow brought back, because you're just not seeing it as much.
Gotcha. Okay. How old are you today?
I'm 35.
35.
I'll be 36 in August.
Okay. Knowing what you know today, what would you tell the 17-year-old Brian Hardy?
I would tell him, write your dreams and your goals down so you can stare at them every day and understand it's not given to you. It's going to take a lot of hard work to get there. And as long as you can figure out the steps to achieve those goals or dreams, just start one at a time until you get there. And once you get there, it'll be the best feeling that you're ever going to feel, knowing that you did it yourself, that nobody did it for you. It's like buying your first car or your first truck on your own without your parents helping you, without anything. It's just that satisfaction that you did it on your own.
Right.
That's probably what I would tell them.
Very cool. That's a lot of good advice to tell somebody that's younger. All right, let's see. You're at a hunting convention somewhere in the world, and a stranger comes up to you in the hotel lobby and asks you what you do for a living. What do you tell them?
For a living, I'm a full-time fireman. I'm a captain for the fire department. I've been doing it for 14 years now. Mm-hmm. And if they ask why I was there, I would tell them that I own, with my wife, Hardy Face Paint, and explain to them what that is.
Right. Very cool. All right. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
For breakfast this morning? Well, I just got off shift. Yep. I had a late call, and I haven't ate anything yet.
Okay.
We have a 3-month-old baby, and she's our number one priority right now.
Right. All right. So you might get a luncheon somewhere later on.
Right. Hopefully.
All right. All right. So you get your own billboard on the side of a highway, and it's a blank canvas. You can put anything you want on it. What would it say?
Right now, would probably say something along the lines of how proud I am to be married to my wife. and surprise her with that.
All right. Very cool. Very romantic. I like it. All right. If I say the word successful to you, who's the first person that pops into your head and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. The first person that comes in, this could cause all kinds of people to send feeds in for you, would probably be Donald Trump.
Right.
So he just won the election. The guy's a billionaire. He didn't get that way by not being successful.
Right.
So I'll just leave it at that.
Well, it's been our most common answer lately, I have to say.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not the first person to say that. Kind of came in as the dark horse, not expecting to win, and
You're right.
Surprised everyone.
And we only live 18 miles from Mar-a-Lago, so we've always seen Donald Trump down here.
Right.
So he's not a new person in our spotlight down here in South Florida.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. What's a day in your life look like?
A day right now is super busy. Like I said, we have our first child. She'll be 4 months here in a couple days. So it's mainly we are 100% on her schedule. When she's napping like she is now, I try to get as much of the house stuff done. I try to answer any email, social media questions. Between the wife and I, we're only 2 people, and we're the only 2 people that run our business. So if that makes any sense, it's chaotic.
Right. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Absolutely does. All right. And finally, what's a deer hunting day in your life look like?
A deer hunting day would have to be, to me, that first cold snap, not missing that first cold snap.
Okay. Is there early rise, or what's that day look like? What's your typical?
Oh, it's early. You're in the stands way earlier than you normally are because it's your first hunt of the year.
Okay.
Now, you've basically been preparing for that day since the last season.
Okay.
So,
and is it an all-day kind of hunt, or is it down after the morning hunt, take a break?
It typically depends on the activity,
okay,
or what needs to be done, if any last-minute tweaking on some stands need to be done. But usually it's an all-day sit.
Okay. All right. Very good. Those are the 10 rapid-fire questions, Brian. Thank you for going through that ordeal with me. Excellent. Good job. So, Brian, where can we find out more about you, your company, your products? Where are people looking social media-wise, website-wise?
Our website is hardyfacepaint.com. You can order straight from there. Like I said, on July 10th, we're going to be in almost 2,200 Walmarts. We're also going to be on Walmart.com. We're on Amazon. We're in Max Prairie Wings, Lancaster Archery, quite a few smaller local archery shops. We're expanding pretty good and getting our name out there. And as far as social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, the YouDo app that just started, we're anywhere. Okay. Google us and you're going to find it.
Very cool. All right. I will make sure we go and find all your pages and like all your pages as the Big Buck Registry.
Sounds great. And like I said, if there's any questions, email me. I typically email you back the same day if I can. If not, it'll be within 48 hours. Any question you have, I will have an answer for you.
Awesome, man.
So don't be afraid to ask.
Very cool. I appreciate you coming on the show and talking to us about Hardy Face Paint and what it's like to hunt in Florida. It's been a mystery to us, for those of us who have never hunted Florida, and how to go about it. And it's I love your story about your products. I think you have quite a bright future ahead of you in the face paint business.
Well, I hope so. And like I said, we broadening our business, and we're going towards the sports as well. So our eye black is available. We haven't finalized our packaging, but you can still purchase the eye black, and you'll obviously be getting some. So you can give me a review, tell me what you think, and see it firsthand. Okay.
Well, my son will mostly appreciate that. He loves the eye black, and it's that team bonding that he offers to everybody in the dugout just before game time, and somehow they seem to play better when they get painted up.
There you go.
Excellent. Oh, Brian, thank you very much. This has been an honor and a pleasure to have you on our show, and thanks for telling us your story, and looking forward to big things from you down the road.
Sounds great. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you very much to Brian Hardy for joining us on the Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast. It's a very interesting story that he had to tell. I wish him well. It sounds like he's off on the right track in getting all his products into retail stores. And we are in the process of actually testing some product that Brian sent us, so we'll let you know how it goes. But so far, it's very interesting. It's much different than any face paint we'd ever used. And we're looking forward to using some face paint in the field this year instead of going with the face mask. So best of luck to Brian, and hope you enjoyed the interview. Dusty, do we have a Chubby Tines tip of the week?
Talking about the woods, Jay brings up a great Chubby Tines tip for you guys.
All right, what do we got for a Chubby Tines tip of the week? The Chubby Tines tip of the week is sponsored by Morse's Sporting Goods. Firearms, used firearms, bows, used bows, located at 85 Kentucky Falls Road in Hillsborough, New Hampshire. Give Jim a call at 603-464-3444, morsessportinggoods.com. Your dollars go further in New Hampshire. There's no sales tax. Morse's Sporting Goods.
Talking about being in the woods, Jay, that brings up a great Chubby Tines tip of the week. A lot of people say that, I got a little bit of an issue with my back. I can't walk real far. Or I've had this leg injury for many years, and it's finally got me to the point where I can't walk way back in the woods like I used to kill them big bucks. So, if you really want to kill a big buck and you really or got the drive to go hunting, but maybe you got a disability or you got an issue that won't allow you to travel way back deep in the woods like you think you would need to be. If you can get somewhere that's either a road crossing or a bedding area is close by, you can kill a nice mature buck out by the road. You don't have to go super deep back in the woods. Now, I'm speaking from experience. I've got literally a 5-acre patch that's a deer cross through, and I know for a fact that this year I will have at least 190 plus inch Ohio whitetail passing right down this little patch of woods. And probably my farthest away from the road I can get is 150 yards. And I'm going to run into a creek. 150 yards from the road, I'm going to hunt the guts out of it. I know there's big deer passing through there. That being said, though, keep that in mind. If you got an issue that you cannot get back into the woods, and there's multiple things that could be wrong that you can't make it back deep into the woods. Sometimes you don't have to be that far off the road to kill a nice mature whitetail. Keep that in mind. Set it up like you was hunting deep in the woods, and just be there and hunt hard.
Love it. Very, very nice. Well, thank you to Morse's Sporting Goods for sponsoring the Chubby Tines Tip of the Week. And I'd also like to say thank you to all of our sponsors. Without them, this show is not possible. And specifically, I'd like to say thank you to Advanced Takedown Tree Stands, Covert Scouting Cameras, the Horny Buck Seed Company, the Euro Hanger, and once again, Morse's Sporting Goods. And I truly believe in each and every product that we're advertising on this show. We've tried them all. We've been to the stores. Each and every one are absolutely high quality, high grade products. And if you're shopping for any one of these types of items, please give our sponsors a shot first. Dusty, where can we find you when you're not hanging out here in the studios with me?
Shoot me an email, dusty@bigbuckregistry.com. You can look me up on Instagram and Twitter @ChasingAntler, Facebook.com/Chubby Tines Outdoors. Jay, where can the people reach out to you when you're not on the mic?
Likewise, you can shoot me an email, jay@bigbuckregistry.com, and you can visit us on Facebook, facebook.com/bigbuckregistry. We're also on Twitter, which is twitter.com/bigbuckregistry. We're also on Instagram, instagram.com/bigbuckregistry, and YouTube, which is youtube.com/bigbuckregistry. On YouTube, you can listen to all of our podcasts in their entirety. As far as videos are concerned, it's a boring video, but the audio content is there, so you can actually listen to our podcast. You can also listen to all of our live shows that we've done on Thursday nights when we do them, and we've gone back and re-interviewed a lot of our previous guests we had on the show just to put a face to a voice, let's put it that way. You can always listen to our show on other places as well, not just YouTube. We're found on iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, and Blueberry. And if you would like to submit a buck to our page for consideration and be featured on our page in front of 250,000 diehard deer hunting fans, all you have to do is go to bigbuckregistry.com/mybuck, and all of the instructions will be right there. I think that's pretty much everywhere we're at. Just want to give one more shout out to all of our sponsors: Advanced Takedown Tree Stands, Covert Scouting Cameras, the Horny Buck Seed Company, the Euro Hanger, and Morse's Sporting Goods. I think that's a wrap, Dusty.
That's a whole lot of big buck, Jay.
Sure is. I'm Jay Scott.
I'm Dusty Phillips.
And this is the Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Can't wait.